King Charles III met with President Biden on Monday for the second time since he ascended the throne last year. This meeting mirrored a similar one between the President and the late Queen in 2021 and continues a long tradition of Anglo-American diplomatic photo ops. Charles may just be getting into the swing of these things as monarch, but his experience with US presidents goes back a long way. He was just 10 when he met President Dwight D. Eisenhower. His presidential get-togethers since then have highlighted the importance of the royal family as vital diplomatic tools for the UK.
American people are quite fond of the royal family. Would be nice to know.
But they've also given him a platform to campaign on issues close to his heart, something he will need to rein in now that he's king. The future king's first visit to the US was in 1970.
America, to me and to my sister, has always been a very fascinating and intriguing country.
It was a visit that President Richard Nixon hoped would be a public relations bonanza.
An indication of the closeness of the relationship between the United States and Great Britain and the British Commonwealth.
It was one of Charles's early experiences of engaging in a form of diplomacy known as soft power.
Soft power is the power of attraction rather than military or financial might, and this is something that the British royal family really excels at. The American public is very interested in seeing them. And so when Charles came as Prince of Wales, he was much younger and he really had that star power. It was like when the Beatles ascended, because he was this very young, attractive 20-something-year-old prince.
He would later reference that first visit during a White House trip 35 years later.
The media were busy trying to marry me off to Tricia Nixon.
That event, hosted by President George W. Bush, also gave the prince a platform to touch on more serious matters.
So many people throughout the world look to the United States of America for a lead on the most crucial issues that face our planet.
He also praised then First Lady Michelle Obama's campaign against childhood obesity and hunger.
These are marvelous ideas that I'm sure will make a major difference.
And he has not shied away from using his presidential interactions to promote issues important to him.
One of the great examples is that he did bring up climate change when he met with President Donald Trump.
Well, we were going to have a 15-minute chat, and it turned out to be an hour and a half, and he did most of the talking.
There's been discussions about why this is, but at the end of the day, it might just be more straightforward and more simple, is that he had the ear of one of the most powerful people on the planet and decided this was his issue, or try to convince him to follow suit.
Now, as king, Charles must remain politically neutral, and he has acknowledged that he cannot continue as a campaigner.
It will no longer be possible for me to give so much of my time and energies to the charities and issues for which I care so deeply.
I think he'll still press his issues privately with either the President of the United States or his Prime Minister and push his own agenda and say those things.
And when it comes to being a soft power tool, he has a lot to live up to.
The Queen was by far the master of soft power. She was a very skilled diplomat in many ways, and part of that is because she had 70 years of experience. With Charles, we'll have to see now if he really steps into his mother's shoes and balance those public and private outings.
Charles's ascension to the throne comes at a time when the UK is seeking stronger economic and security ties with the US.
The UK really has to rely on the British royal family to sort of promote Great Britain and to keep up U.S.-UK relations.
King Charles may have to cut back on the speeches, but there seems no end in sight for the presidential photo ops.
One more for old times.
That's easy. All right.